This week in gaming, the Grim Reaper comes for Bluepoint, Highguard is on LivePoint, and the PlayStation 6 might be out in 2029 or 2020. We don't know because they keep moving it around. This is the NerdCave News, and I'm one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined by my good friend and co-host, Derek, the gorgeous Daniel. Derek, how's it going, my man?
I don't know about gorgeous, but I'm doing fantastic, Zach. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. It was kind of a slapdash to get into the stream tonight, but we're here, everybody, and I'm glad that
like Barry Allen, just like
yeah, the fastest man alive. You know what I mean? Like we're watching. It was like season 2 of My Hero, and it's literally the Flash intro. It's this is the story of how I became the world's greatest hero, and I started like, my name's Barry Allen, and I'm the fastest man alive.
Oh, that's great.
So, but everybody, welcome to the show. We hope that you're doing fantastic. Let us know what you're playing, watching, and reading. Let's go to a quick comment from Joe, and the comments are on the screen, y'all. Look at there. Look at there. Joe says, not much different than before, but I might have to get some comics this year. One of the original Ben 10 creators is making a comic. Oh, that's pretty cool. And there is a Spider-Man, Superman comic. Whoa, that's cool.
Okay.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that at all. Guys, let us know what you're thinking down in the comments as we go through. But let's get into my favorite segment, Derek, and that is, what you playing?
So I've been playing 2 different games this week, over the last week. It's, of course, continuing Expedition 33, just kind of going through, doing all the different things. Just kind of cleaning up, like finding some side quests, finding some different events, just fighting the chromatic bosses. And oh my God, there's one, like once you gain a certain ability, you'll reach a level of the world. Just one of them just chilling there. And it was tough. Like it murked my whole team. And like, so I kind of flow through because, there's only 5 members. So it's like to keep them all like around the same level. I do like a team of 2 and 3. Well, it insta-killed my 2 team just about. And then it joined in my 3-man team, and Mael's on my 3-man team. And it was because of her, like doing all these revives and trying to keep up with the people. Like it was rough. Like I went through so many revive tents, heal tents. I was just like, but I beat it. I didn't, Mama didn't raise no quitter. She raised a complainer, but she didn't raise no quitter. So, so I beat that boss, and just still having fun with the world. Combat is still one of the highlights of that game for sure. But I played a little game, Zach, that you probably have played as well this week, maybe. That came out as a shadow drop last week out of our PlayStation State of Play review, and that is Sons of Sparta, the God of War game. It is interesting. Like I really haven't played 2D games that much, and I haven't played one in so long, but I do enjoy what I have of this game. Like it, story-wise, I don't really connect with it. Like it's cool. Like you start off, you jump right in, and it's like you fight a Cyclops, and then it's like you and Deimos, and then you go back, and it's interesting to see them come up because you know how kids, they like to make exaggerated stories and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the gate guards is there, and he's like, he doesn't like them for whatever reason, and he just they're always telling some brash tales and all this of what their accomplishments are, and he's just scoffing at us like, oh sure you did, you know what I mean? And it's kind of a jerk. I'm kind of hoping he wisens up after a while.
Or dies. You want him to die.
Either one. Either one. whichever happens first, I'm game for it. But the combat is very simplistic, very straightforward, but it does, I like how they take the old school God of War games, like with the simplistic combat and all that, but they integrate the Norse duology, and they do invite some like upgrade paths, some like different some like different gear equipment. So like you can change like the head, the hilt, and the tail of the spear. You can change the rim on the shield, like with different abilities, different, not really buffs, but just like you can upgrade them and it gains like extra abilities or like a special move you can use. I just got a item that includes a magic meter. in it.
Okay.
You do have your spirit meter, or like your valor meter, like which does like your those spirit, like those weapon special attacks and whatnot. The block and parry, and the enemies aren't super tough, but I did fight a Minotaur that did, like, it wasn't a boss, but it
Mm.
kicked my butt way too much. And I finally figured out what, like, the attack pattern and what I need to do to, like, pretty much dodge roll the thing. So the story, I'm not really connecting with. Again, it's different. It is different. It's like, okay, it does start off with like Kratos, like with Calliope. Calliope comes upon his Spartan shield, and he's telling the tale of like how he got started on his journey and whatnot. So it starts like with him, and Demos is like not the troublemaker, but he's like the over earnest, like, oh, we got to do it, we got to do it, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to save this person. Very eager beaver, and Kratos is just like, calm down, I need you to stop doing this. Which is older and younger brother dynamics. That's how it usually goes. And it's weird because I fought a couple of bosses, and it seems like he calls for Demos, but then after you kill the bosses, when Demos comes in, so it's like, is Demos gonna ever help? Or because there's like this whole confusion of, oh, the PlayStation Store says it's co-op, but it's really not, apparently. I don't know. They haven't really delved into that whatsoever, but it's an intriguing game. It's a very different take on the lore and the story, but again, the story might pick up because I've only played like maybe a few story quests so far. So but in the Metroid, it does do the Metroidvania where the more you find, like you're filling out the map, and it's all like interconnected. Like you go to one area, you from one area to the next. And of course, as you get power ups, as you get like items, you can unlock other paths, that you were previously blocked off from the typical Metroidvania type thing.
A lot like God of War.
Yeah, that also is that very true. I don't know. I like it. I'm not in love with it as much. I'm not on David Jaffe's level where he's just like disdains the game. I don't.
He hated the Norse trilogy as well. So
yeah, it's whatever. It's sort of like old man yelling at cloud. It's like, this is not my game. It's like, okay, but your last game sucked, sir. It's like,
well, it's like you've literally built 2 studios and they've both closed since you left,
right?
So it's
your
like
track record is trash.
Yeah, it's like, you built something amazing, but since then, you're resting on your 5-gallon bucket for sure.
Exactly. Well, this is the only way you can remain relevant, is hating on whatever God of War does.
Yeah. I haven't had the chance to play Sons of Sparta, and hopefully this weekend I'll be able to jump on it, because my weekend consisted, of course, of playing some Death Stranding 2, of course,
Of course.
And then I started Citizen Sleeper 1. So,
okay.
Yeah, I started playing it, and dude, that gameplay loop is so addictive.
Okay.
And it's super simple. Like, it's super simple. You get like, you have like a health bar essentially, and your health bar, the higher it is, the more like rolls on the dice you have. And if you get too hungry, you lose health. You're also in this like synthetic robot body, and you've ran away from this corporate entity and you slowly deteriorate. So you have to go find these special drugs that keeps your body from shutting down and rejecting the organs that are in it. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So you're constantly like trying to get money, trying to like have food, do all of these things, do odd jobs to make money and make friends, all this kind of stuff. You're trying to figure out all these things. But dude, like every cycle, that's what they're called. Like, I'm exploring, I'm doing all these things, I'm just in it hardcore. And dude, I was literally like this playing, like looking at my screen. I was that engrossed in it. There's no like there's dialogue, but there's no voice acting at all in the first one, at least.
So it's like a Undertale.
Yeah, like you're reading, but dude, I was so in it the whole entire time I was playing. And I probably played like 3 hours on Sunday, which I was like, oh, I'm going to play this a little bit and then I'll get into Sons of Sparta. never even thought about Sons of Sparta, like after I started playing it. And that says a lot about this game because like I've got Death Stranding 2 that I want to keep playing. I've got Space Marines 2, but the thing that I've been thinking about, Derek, since I stopped playing has been Citizen Sleeper.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, dude, I'm super excited to get more into it and everything and play a little bit more. But, dude, it's been a fantastic game. And I know it was on sale on the PlayStation Store. Both of them were, so I'm not sure if it still is. But if y'all are looking for kind of go watch some gameplay and it'll explain it a lot more. Yeah. But it's so good. I'm enjoying it a ton.
Now, so. I would be remiss if I didn't ask, because I did see the thumbnail for your Tuesday Let's Play. How was that Lamp Master boss fight?
Dude, I crushed him this time around. And then, Cane Boy came up in there and just murked somebody. I was just like, what in the world? And then, like, you get Verso on your crew. And you guys go come and watch me on Tuesdays. Koshi has helped me a ton. Like the whole reason I was able to beat the Lamp Master was because Koshi 66 in the chat. They told me about like the lamps glowing like on the first round, and then like, hey, look at how the order and all of this, and shoot them in that order. But yeah, like Verso is literally just a Gustav reskin.
Yep. Yep, because it has powerful. What else? It had
the recovery,
the recovery one, the one by flame by fire, which is grants him personal recovery. So I'm just like, granted, it's more like light based attacks, and like the gimmick with Verso is different than with Gustav. But yeah, dude, that whole thing with Gustav, I was just like, nah, this can't. And then again, it does that little like red herring where it lets you fight Kane, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is your chance to like get out of there, all that. And it's like, nope.
I'm like, why did y'all have to throw the freaking rocks? Yeah. Why did you have to throw the rocks? But dude, like, I was like, okay, this makes way more sense that he recorded 4 hours and that was it. I'm like, okay. And like, I took him off like my main line. Like he was like my backup, because CL was like way more like,
wrecking shop.
Well, and it's like the enemies that are around there like took a lot more damage due to Dark, like her stuff and everything. So, but yeah, I was you should go check my reaction, everybody, to that moment and everything, because dude, it was like the highest highs, like beating the Lamp Master. I was like, yeah, because it was my first time through that night, and I beat it. I was like, yes, and then it's like, oh god, oh god, the highest highs and the lowest lows, y'all. Yep. But yeah, let us know what you're playing down in the comments below. Welcome, Michael. Hope you're doing well tonight. Amy says, of course, I've screwed this up now. It's not working like it was. Raised a complainer, not a quitter. Put that on a shirt.
Yep.
Should put that on a shirt. I miss when we used to just like make random shirts.
I know.
What was it? The
part of the ship, part of the crew.
Not part of the ship, part of the crew. It was the milking the
hogs and
butchering the horses.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh man, that's good stuff. That was back in the day, y'all. Back in the day. All right, let's see if I can get this work right here. All right. Welcome everybody. What in the world, child? What in the world, child? What in the world? We're still figuring this out. This is a new kit and caboodle here, y'all. All right. Nope. Well, we're not going to take time up on that, y'all.
That'll be figured out for next week.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I had it, and then I lost it, y'all. Just like someone else had it, and then they lost it, y'all. Let's talk about Highguard. And
Mm-hmm.
we got a ton of Highguard woes. Highguard website is currently unavailable following Wildlight Entertainment layoffs and dwindling player numbers. And this is by Michael Howardence at PSU.
Quote, this site is currently unavailable, reads the error. Right now, there's no indication of when the site will come back online, however, although Highguard itself is still playable. Things haven't been easy for the game as of late, however, as despite launching to nearly 100,000 concurrent users, the player count has dwindled considerably to the point where it's barely able to crack 1,500 on in the past 24 hours. And of course, like the title suggests, there is layoffs at Highguard or for the Wildlight Entertainment, and they have come out and said, "Oh no, the game." Like I think they came out this morning and said, "Oh no, the game is still planning. We've got another update coming and all that kind of stuff." But we've seen this time and again. Games still get updates, but it's on life support at this point. And I know we got another story, right? Following here in just a second, but it's crazy that this game has had such a mixed reception because correct me if I'm wrong. I know it was at Game Awards, but it was the last thing shown at Game Awards, correct?
Yeah, it was the last trailer for the Game Awards.
Yeah, it was the one more thing, and people were very mixed, albeit very down on that being the last thing. And they were like, "Oh, another looter shooter, all that kind of stuff." And it's like, this is not what we wanted. And I know the developer, like the head honcho over there, was like, this is the ship we write at this point, or like I forget, I don't know what phrase I'm looking for. Regardless, he was mixed about it. It's like, do we not take that out? He kind of posed the question. It's like, do you not take that opportunity to on the one of the biggest stages of the year to show off the game? Now it's like he said maybe we shouldn't have been the last one shown, but it was beneficial to us to be there at Game Awards. When all eyes are there at the last game show of the year. But I don't know. That's not what we're here to debate. The debate is, should Highguard have even existed? Because it seems like it's being more trouble than it's worth at this point, and it's only a matter of time before, I don't want to say the studio will close, but the game will go offline at the very least.
Yeah, I think just seeing the vehement response to the trailer and how even people were trying to save this. Like people were like, let's save Highguard. Kind of like how Battlefront 2 went through its renaissance because of content creators and everything. But the reaction just shows you how much gamers are tired of live service games.
Yep.
That shows you everything that you need to know. We are tired of live service games, and this was just another one of those. I know when I reacted to it and Bo reacted to it, I thought it looked pretty cool, but did I play it? No, I didn't, because it's not a game for me. It's not something that I'm going to spend time on. And I think it's very clear for everybody here that that's what's happening. And like I said, it's on life support. We're going to get into another one, another article that'll go a little bit deeper, and we'll talk about some of the layoffs and the plan forward and everything. But dude, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They're pouring so much money into these games, and it's the chance to be the next Fortnite. And it's like, man, I would rather put $20 million, $25 million into something and get a guaranteed that I will get a return, even if it's a 1% return. I'd rather take that than the potential it just blows up, because there's not enough people to play all these live service games.
Correct.
So Joe brings up a lot of people were calling it Concord 2. Yeah. I feel like it lasted a lot longer than Concord 2.
Oh yeah.
Concord.
It's already lasted about twice as long as Concord 2 Concord at this point.
Yeah. So it just shows you that regardless of how much time you put into something, how much you think something's going to go one way, being a creative, Derek, how you envision something and how it goes are two different things.
Correct. It's always like the plan sounds good, but the execution is poor.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's jump into the second. I don't even. Yeah, the second article of this part. My brain had a fart there, y'all. According to a report, Tencent was quietly backing Highguards Studio, and this is by Rebecca Valentine at IGN.
Highguard, the free-to-play PvP raid shooter announced at the Game Awards last year and released to preemptive criticism and mockery only for most of its developers to be laid off just weeks after launch, was apparently financially backed by Tencent, according to a report. This comes from GameFile, which reports that the Chinese gaming mogul was the primary financial backer behind developer Wildlight Entertainment, an arrangement that was not publicly shared by either company. Prior to this report, it was unclear of who was funding Wildlight, despite Highguard seemingly being in development for a number of years prior to its announcement at the Game Awards in December. Its official LinkedIn page has long included the line that Wildlight is, quote, a new, fully funded entertainment studio. In addition, Wildlight Entertainment itself has suffered a number of layoffs, with the studio confirming that it has kept a, quote, core group of developers to continue innovating on and supporting the game. Upon launch, Highguard netted nearly 100,000 Steam concurrents, but critic reviews, including ours, were just so-so, and user scores were low. Just a few weeks later, developers from Wildlight revealed that most of them had been laid off. Since then, one developer has worked on the game. Who has worked on the game has reflected that Highguard was, quote, turned into a joke from minute one due to false assumptions made from the TGA trailer, and a number of other high-profile developers have come to its defense. It remains unclear how heavily reliant Wildlight was on Tencent, or whether a decision to pull funding was made at some point that led to the mass layoffs. Wildlight's future at the studio also remains unclear, with a studio statement saying it would retain a, quote, core group of developers to keep Highguard going. And this is, talking about the kiss of death here, and I kind of almost in my brain equate Embracer Group and Tencent as like one and the same, because they both do like sleazy. They're both what I would call like Galactus, Eater of Worlds. They just kind of gobble up studios, just studios left and right. But Tencent has more of a issue of just, cutting them off whenever, like shutting them down whenever they feel like it, if it's not making an immediate ROI. And when I saw this, I'm like, oh, this is definitely the kiss of death for Highguard. Like, I don't know about the studio itself, but for the game especially, I feel like this is the kiss of death, because Tencent will pour money in, but if they don't feel like they're getting enough ROI back, or if they feel like they're not going to make an ROI, they're going to cut it, tax write-off, and it's a simple playbook for them. It's like how many over the last couple of years we reported on them doing this time and time again. And when are people? I know smaller studios, like especially like because Wildlight Entertainment is like a newer studio per se. I think this is like their first game that they've done. Probably not, but first major game that they've at least done for them. And I get it. Like when you need money to fund the game, to fund your vision, you're going to take whatever money you can. But when are the developers going to wake up and realize Tencent is not the answer? Especially if they have this track record of just saying, all right, guys, I know we said we believed in you, but now we don't. Goodbye. Sorry, we're going to have to lay you off for Thanksgiving. Good luck feeding your families.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, this is venture capitalism at its finest here.
Correct.
When you think about it, it's like, when you get money from somebody else and you're promising that it is going to do well, yada, 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 they expect a return on the investment. This is not it's different than an angel investor, which just gives you the money and then doesn't expect anything in return. Like Tencent, Savvy Games, all of that, like they're all about making money. It is a way for them to put money in and get money out. It's essentially a multiplier for their money. I did a little chat GPT search, Derek.
Okay.
I asked, how many games has Tencent supported, then pulled funding when they did not do well? So these are known cases where funding or support was pulled or the project was canceled. Undawn, a high-budget zombie survival game developed and published through Tencent's Level Infinite label. Ring of Elysium, Splash Damage, Transformers Reactivate, Highguard, Team Kaiju was another one, and Wan Do Xingwan. The development was abandoned and the game quietly removed years before release after never gaining traction.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 that we know of.
Yeah, that we know of. That
we know
public.
Of. Yeah. So it's just like when you see Tencent, like Tencent actually owns a portion of Ubisoft as well.
Yep.
At this point and everything. And did Tencent they supported they were like part of PUBG, right?
I forget. I believe so, yes.
Let's see.
I can't remember if it's them or Embracer Group, but I believe Tencent is part of PUBG.
Let's look. Was PUBG a part of Tencent? I'm pretty sure it's Tencent.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. They didn't own it, but they definitely are a big part of it. Okay. So
gotcha.
I just wanted to make sure before we spread any misinformation on that and everything. Yeah. But it's like they have this expectation. It's like, okay, when PUBG came out, like if y'all remember back 2017 or whatever it was, 2016, PUBG was huge. And then Fortnite started taking over and all of that. But PUBG was the one. Yeah, but PUBG was the one that really put battle royales on the map because if you remember, Fortnite wasn't a battle royale.
Nope.
You know, it was
supposed to be like a builder survival game.
Yeah. So it's like that's what the expectation is when Tencent puts money in something, that it's going to get an investment back in dividends more than they put in and everything. So, and that's where, you know, unfortunately, we don't have the greatest news tonight. Like I was thinking about last week, Derek, and I was like, man, it
was so jubilant, joyous. It was a good time to be a gamer, and it all got taken away.
Yeah, we were riding high on the hog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
High on the hog, y'all. And you can live high on the hog right now by hitting that like button like everybody else does. But let's talk about the PlayStation 6 launch date, because Sony is reportedly considering pushing back. We've already talked about this once, Derek, and we've talked about it twice, but this is the third time, pushing back the release of the PS6 to 2028 or even 2029 amid the AI-fueled chip crisis, as Andy Cortez calls it, the memory loss.
Yeah, brilliant. And this, of course, is done by our boy Wesley Yinpool at IGN. He's not really our boy, but you know we use his articles a lot. The AI-fueled chip crisis has reportedly upended Sony and Nintendo's console plans and may cause a delay to the release of the PlayStation 6 and a price rise for the Switch 2. Memory is in high demand because companies like Nvidia and Google require so much of it for their AI chips, with a recent CNBC report pointing out that these companies are, quote, the first ones in line for the components. This will likely push up RAM prices and have a knock-on impact on both console retail prices and availability. The first is that Sony is now reportedly considering pushing back the debut of the PS6 to 2028 or even 2029, which it described would be a, quote, major upset to the company's plans. Meanwhile, Nintendo reported to be considering raising the price of the Switch 2 this year. Neither company has issued a comment in response to the report. Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa recently addressed the possibility of a Switch 2 price rise caused by rising prices for components and the potential impact on profitability for the hardware, saying in vague terms that he didn't think there would be any impact anytime soon. Quote, we do not disclose details regarding individual components, but we can say that we are working to secure stable supplies of memory components by holding discussions from a long-term perspective with our business partners. As a result, the recent rise in memory prices did not have a significant impact on hardware profitability in the third quarter. In addition, we do not expect any significant impact in the fourth quarter. However, if this rise in component prices lasts longer than expected and runs through the next fiscal year and beyond, it may put pressure on profitability if the situation deteriorates significantly. It will carefully assess market trends and respond. As for any future change in the price for Nintendo Switch 2 hardware, no decision has been made at this time. Any decision to change the price will be determined comprehensively, taking into consideration not only profitability, but also other factors like the platform's installed base, sales trends, and the market environment. And I'm going to take it from a different perspective because, of course, obviously this is it's just going to be like during the pandemic, right? Like just getting components overseas was halting production of
Yep.
getting Xbox and PlayStations to different countries, especially here in the US, and like having very limited stocks and running out like within not even 30 minutes at some places, depending on how many they got. But from a different take on it, because I know Kind of Funny touched on this when they talked about it earlier in the week, I think this is better for Sony in the long run. Like, yeah, it messes up their plans, but I think it's good for the devs because some of the devs reported that they haven't even really fully unlocked the PlayStation 5 hardware, like really push the horsepower of the console. And you can kind of look at it, and I know it's been a weird console start to the console life cycle during COVID and whatnot. It pretty much took about 3 years before before everything kind of like regulated itself out. But it just feels like this generation never has kicked off, like in terms of like the games we're getting. Like I know we're getting more solid releases and consistent releases like over the last couple of years. Mainly I know Xbox had a really good release schedule for its first party studios last year,
Mm-hmm.
but it just really feels like there hasn't been that home run knock out of the park just yet for studios. Like I know there have been really good and I shouldn't even say home runs, grand slams. Let's put it that way, because there have been some home runs, like Ragnarok. Like Ragnarok on PlayStation. I know Doom: The Dark Ages was. You could. Even though I haven't played it, Zach, you could consider that a home run for Xbox,
Oh, yeah.
right? And then of course the Switch 2 is just doing gangbusters right now, and I know it sucks that, but I let's be honest, even if there wasn't a chip crisis, they would have found some other reason to raise the price of the Switch 2, tariffs or whatnot, like use the same cut and paste excuse like everyone else is. But I feel like this will be good for the developers because they get more time with the consoles. Now, yes, were some of the developers who are already getting hints of like, hey, start making this game for the next console and trying to really push that and like use different tech to go beyond the PS5. Is this mess up their plans? Maybe, but they can. But again, scale it down, rework some stuff. Again, it's we don't make games. It is hard to make. Like I stand by that. However, I feel like this is still a win because if devs are coming out and saying they can still squeeze juice out of that orange for the PS5, let them do it because how often not? Like, of course, it's always like when the last year and a half of a console life cycle, do devs come out and say, oh, yeah, we really maximized the PlayStation 3 and 360. We really maximized what the PS4 and Xbox One can do. And if people are coming out and saying, no, we haven't really done that yet for the PS5 and Series X and S, cool. Like, especially if you're spending so much and you tout so much of this hardware of like of all the components, like, oh, it can do this and that. Okay, cool. But if you're not using it to the fullest, you're not getting your money's worth, like as a developer or as a gamer.
Yeah, it's like having a rocket ship and just taking it to the Costco to like get some chips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't make any sense, and for the consumers, I think this is a bigger win than even for the developers. Like, let's get some more games. Like, yes, there's a ton of games to play. There's always way more games that definitely need more attention and love and all of that. But like when I look at it, it's like we've seen the cheapest consoles that we're ever going to get. Like it's only going to go up from here, and they're going to use, like you said, whatever excuse they want to make it more expensive. Because when it comes down to it, they're going to make money. It doesn't matter what you want or what you think. And the console coming out in 2029 doesn't change anything for me. I'm going to play the games that are coming out. I'm going to enjoy the things that I want. And when it comes out, I'll get it. But until then, I'm going to just love every freaking second of every game that I get to play. And like my decisions and your decisions, what we would want from PlayStation as long as we've done this show, 6 years, Derek, has that ever affected their decisions?
No.
Exactly.
So why start now?
So it's like, okay, we could either be ticked off about it being delayed, or like, to my opinion, I think it's a great thing. I'm excited for this because we're going to get really good games. The developers, like you said, are going to be able to really, like, even you think about the games that launched on the PlayStation 5, Ratchet and Clank, or Rift in Time, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Rift Apart.
Rift Apart. Dude, that game looks phenomenal.
It does. And that was a launch window game.
Launch window game. And then, like, we've only gotten better and better and better. So it's like, once we get to the final stage of the PS5 and we're cooking on all cylinders, that rocket ship's actually going to make it to space, y'all. And it's going to be amazing.
Was another, like, technical marvel as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, I can't wait to see where we go. And I do think probably next year we will see, or I would say the back half of this year, the Nintendo Switch 2 will go up. I will say that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because we've already seen the one, like, Switch, the regular Switch, go up.
It went up right before the holiday started. I think that right before holidays this year start, that they're going to raise the price of the Switch 2.
Yeah. I think so. Guys, you know what is free, though? And that is supporting the NerdCave with a like, with a subscribe, all of those good things. It helps us a ton to keep doing the amazing things that we do here, from this show, which is free. It's FREE. Okay. Support a 1.5 person business by hitting that subscribe button and that like button wherever you're watching. If you're watching here on YouTube, if you're watching over on Spotify when this goes out, or if you're watching over on Substack, we love y'all and we're glad that you're here. Let's talk about some more Sony news, and that is Santa Monica. Santa Monica has another unannounced game in the works that could be revealed this year.
And of course, this is by our other boy over at PSU, Michael Herendons. Following the surprise news that Sony Santa Monica is remaking the original God of War trilogy, it's been claimed by insider Shinobi602 that the California-based developer has another unannounced PS5 title in the pipeline. When asked by a user on Reset Era if Cory Barlog's new project could be announced this year, the usually reliable tipster replied, quote, "Like I said, given the quarter they're targeting, I do expect that. Probably May State of Play or the Summer Game Fest. As of now, I don't know yet. If not by then they've either pushed the release out further or doing a shorter reveal to release. We're not sure at this point if this refers to the technically ambitious new IP that Barlog previously talked about last year. However, it's also worth mentioning that Shuhei Yoshida said in an interview in November of last year that a new IP at Sony Santa Monica was scrapped despite having put $25 million into working on it. He didn't specify if this was the aforementioned new IP Cory spoke about. Beyond that, you may recall that it was rumored that a new God of War title set in Egypt was brewing at Santa Monica, with Jason Schreier of Bloomberg describing a project that isn't a new IP but, quote, might feel like one. This would certainly fit the bill for a God of War game, albeit one featuring a brand new setting, and ties in with reports that the studio has multiple projects in the works. Now, Zach, what do you think is more, of course, you know, I know this is anniversary for God of War, and I think Santa Monica as well. Like, obviously, they're going to eat like we ate last week at the State of Play by having 2 God of War announcements, like the remake trilogy. No, I don't think anyone saw coming, honestly. But, of course, Sons of Sparta, you know, you quietly expected it. The Shadow Drop was not expected, but you had heard about a 2D God of War game, but, you know, set back in Greece. And we had talked about it all a lot last year. But have this another project to be revealed. Like, this is going to be the year of Santa Monica, in my opinion. And again, I know we won't see remake trilogy for a while, and maybe not see this new IP till maybe next year, maybe 2028 at best. It depends. But Zach, what are your thoughts on? My 2 questions are: what are your thoughts on Santa Monica potentially having another game reveal happening somewhat soon, and maybe in the imminent future, because at least within the next 4 months, because again, Summer Game Fest or the May State of Play, And then what do you think it is? Do you think it will just be a brand new IP, or do you think, according to Jason Schreier, it'll be like a new IP, but it's really the God of War set in the next whatever pantheon?
What was the first question?
What do you think this says for like? What are just your thoughts of like Santa Monica having another game to reveal this year after already announcing 2 last week?
It's kind of crazy to think about. I don't want them to fall into what Obsidian did last year and release 3 games. Just because it's revealed, though, I will say this: because it's revealed doesn't mean that it will come out this year.
Correct. Because again, like I said, the trilogy, like even TC Carson, the OG Kratos said himself, the remake trilogy is now in development, which means they are just now getting started, which means it will be at least 2 to 3 years before we even, think about releasing that game.
Yeah, and the only studio that could turn around a remake that fast is gone.
We'll get into that later.
We'll talk about that later, but they were able to turn around a remake within 3 years.
Yeah.
That's how good they were. RIP Bluepoint. We'll talk about that in a minute. We could see it for sure. Like I'm down, dude. I want to see, like, as Bo says, I think Kratos is going to Egypt, baby. I want to see it. I'm ready for it. And it would be great way to go into like the remake and all of that. Like it's just kind of compounding and all of that kind of stuff. It could be something simple, dude. It could be a smaller game again. It could be something that we, but for Jason Schreier, I trust Jason above anybody else in the industry. With him saying it's not a new IP, but it's going to feel like one. I feel like the way that they were able to make us feel like God of War was something new and fresh when the 2018 came out.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to do it again. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah. And I selfishly, like, we'll find out, like, of course, within the next 4 months, supposedly. Again, and they go and they kind of cover themselves and saying, if they don't reveal it this year, they could either just delay it, or they could just do like a Fallout where they reveal it and then it's out in 4 months or whatever,
Yeah.
But I selfishly want it to be the next God of War Pantheon game, whatever that is. I mean, there are some light rumors swirling that it could be just involve Atreus, whatever, do whatever. As long as you put God of War on it, I'll play it. But, saying that it could be, just a new IP, I feel like the article kind of in thinking about how this played out last week, I think that they kind of discredited it being a new IP, and I feel like it is more leaning toward Jason Schreier's thoughts, because Shuhei Yoshida, they said that
full of grace,
hallelujah, that they canceled Santa Monica's new IP at Santa Monica. And think about the timeline. They canceled, I think it is a new IP by whatever other studio, because how ironic is it that they canceled it in November, and now all of a sudden the remake trilogy is now in development. So they canceled that, and I feel like whatever team was doing that IP is now doing the remake trilogy. Yeah. So, because again, the fact that we found out a week ago that it was just now in development, it's just like, why are they announced? Like, they've had multiple projects going on, like multiple teams. It's like, why are they just now doing in development when they had a new IP supposedly already in development? So I feel like that's how the timeline played out, and now I feel like Cory Barlog's thing is the next God of War, because again, he was involved in one, God of War 1, I believe, not involved in 2. So this is his MO. He starts the series and then lets someone else come in so he can start the next one, or just do his next thing, whatever he wants to let his juices cook. Of course, he consults on the other project, like the follow-up, of course, but this is his MO now. Did the first one, step back from the second one. I forget about how the third one played out, but that's neither here nor there. The Norse duology, was heavily involved in 2018, took a step back for Ragnarok. So this, I think, is just following that same trend. I think that's just who Cory is. He starts a great idea and just lets everyone else, like, continue off that great idea while he focuses on the next one. Yeah. So I feel like that too. I'm excited again. Anything from Santa Monica, I'm excited for, especially if it says GOW on it.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, if y'all haven't got it by now, everybody, if you're
We're
new
not only
here,
Sony ponies
we're Santa Monica fanboys, hardcore.
for sure.
They're definitely our favorite of the Sony. We should do this, Derek. We should rank our Sony first party studios.
Ooh, I like that.
We should do our rank, and we could even do the dead ones.
We'll see. Well, that part. Well, the recent dead, yes. The
Yeah,
ones
the
from
recent.
long ago.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead, as some might say.
Yeah. So, speaking of the recently departed, let's talk about.
This one hurt.
Let's talk about Bluepoint. Sony shuts down Bluepoint Games, and this is by Rebecca Valentine at IGN.
PlayStation has shut down Bluepoint Games, the studio behind the remakes of both Shadow of the Colossus and Demon's Souls. This comes from Bloomberg, which confirmed the news with PlayStation. Roughly 70 employees are going to be impacted by the closure when it officially occurs next month. Quote, Bluepoint Games is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community. A PlayStation spokesperson told Bloomberg, we thank them for their passion, creativity, and craftsmanship. That's a slap in the face if I ever heard one. According to the previous report by Bloomberg, Bluepoint was working on a live service God of War game up until January of 2025. When the project was canceled, the studio then spent last year pitching new projects, but ultimately was shuttered before it could get one moving. Bluepoint, Bluepoint was founded in 2006 by former Retro Studios employees and proceeded to work on a number of PlayStation games, including several collections of existing games such as the God of War Collection, Metal Gear Solid HD Collection, and Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection. It also served as a support studio on ports of games like PlayStation All-Stars, Flower, and Titanfall. But Bluepoint's claim to fame was its 2018 remake of Shadow of the Colossus, followed by its 2020 remake of Demon's Souls, both of which were highly praised by critics and fans. It wasn't until after Demon's Souls that Sony acquired Bluepoint in 2021. Under Sony's management, Bluepoint did some co-development on God of War Ragnarok, but otherwise did not release or announce any new games. And of course, this was, of course, breaking news essentially for the day, just like, we reacted to the State of Play live, well, not live, but, when it happened. And then we had some other breaking news 2 weeks ago, I forget. But it was pretty much, we had to add some in. And I got home, to tell the tale, I got home, was scrolling through YouTube, looked at my subscriptions, went to Kind of Funny, saw, the PlayStation logo and be like, what is happening? And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then looked at their thumbnail for the episode, for their Games Daily, and said, Bluepoint is canceled. And I literally yelled, what? In my apartment. And I texted you immediately, and you're just like, what the crap is going on? Like, we were both blown away by this news. It was unexpected. And again, they were really kicking it off. I feel like they were on sort of like a housemark trajectory where they were really like they could do almost no wrong. Like, I know they were more of a remake studio, but again, Shadow of the Colossus, which, by the way, underrated, like, thinking about it, God of War 2018 and the Shadow of the Colossus remake, like, 2018 was a really solid year for PlayStation that year. I digress. But, and then to follow it up 2 years later with a Demon's Souls remake, like a beloved, like the one that started the Souls-like genre and was a PlayStation 5 console launch game, it was crazy. And again, I know they had that God of War live service project that got canceled. And I'd like to know what other ideas they pitched before they ultimately were shuttered. But it is so sad to think that this is what has become, that this is their end result. It almost feels like Sony shouldn't have bought them to an extent. I know at the time, and in some other timeline, like the God of War remake trilogy is being done by Bluepoint, and the live service God of War game was done in-house at Santa Monica. Somewhere along in some universe, like whatever Barry Allen is deciding to travel through this year, that's happening. But let's address the real issue here, Zach, and I'll let you get your thoughts out in a minute. Jim Ryan, and I know we bash him, we hate him. Like you talk about Shuhei full of grace, Jim Ryan full of disdain. You know, like this is just like full of hate. Uh, if he had not pushed, I feel like a lot of places, and this is not. Let's be fair. I feel like this is not going to be the only place. This is not going to be the only casualty of PlayStation. I feel like there'll be some easy layups, of course, like Haven, maybe Bungie, or definitely some mass layoffs of Bungie, Media Molecule. Like I feel like there will be other casualties, but Jim Ryan set up the gravestones for PlayStation Studios because he saw the writing on the he saw Fortnite like everyone else did. Fortnite, PUBG, Apex Legends, Call of Duty Warzone. He saw all the money they were bringing in, and he's like, I want to be a part of this piece of pie. And he basically held all the studios at gunpoint and said, y'all are doing this. And I know we've talked about it's like, oh, not every studio, but it's like it's always understood. Like being a part of management at two different companies, I know how a lot of this stuff works. And again, some of it is to their own detriment. Some studios, like, they make decisions and they have to stand by them a lot of the times, and they either, just ride it through, or they eat crow and they apologize sometimes. And they say, hey, look, we messed up, but here's how we're going to fix it. Jim Ryan, and again, it's all understood. Not all studios were forced to do live service games, but everyone around the pond was talking. It's like, it was kind of understood. It's like, you're not being forced to, but it's kind of understood that you should at least try to do it. And again, we talk about this time and time again. Play to a studio's strengths. Don't force them to all of a sudden change gears and just accept it. Now, if you hire a bunch of people that have strengths in that realm of genre that you're wanting to do, or you already have people on your team that are passionate and be like, hey, we did actually work on this, we have chops on this, let's try and pitch this game idea, that makes sense. But you don't force someone who wears sweaters to wear denim all of a sudden. You know what I mean? It's a weird comparison, but that's just me. That's the best comparison I can have at this moment. But actually, okay, I have a better one. So you don't force a fruit eater to just all of a sudden eat vegetables. You know what I mean? It's not in their inherent nature. But I don't know. It's just so weird, and it just feels so disgusting, and it feels like this is just like the remnants of Jim Ryan in his reign continuing to plague PlayStation Studios, and this is the result. Like, this is the setup you get, this is the result you get. Zach, take it away. I'll let you have the floor.
So I want to bring in Bo's comment real quick. All the big dogs need to stop buying these studios and just pay them to make a game if they want to hire them. I'm tired of these acquisitions followed by closures. I agree 1,000%.
Yep. I mean, Xbox is no stranger to this as well. And one final point I want to make too. I feel like like last year or the last couple of years we bashed Xbox. I know Nintendo's kind of been hit or miss with their WNDs, but I feel like this year is going to be PlayStation's turn to be like, kind of like, guys, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, this is like, we're talking about rough decisions. I think this is the start of many to come.
Yeah. Post Tango Gameworks world is it's really weird. Doesn't matter if you crush it or not. I want to read something for you, Derek. Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is the announcement of buying Bluepoint. All right. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Bluepoint Games has been an incredible partner to work with over the years, and the craftsmanship they've demonstrated on past projects is impeccable. Said by Jim Ryan, president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. Thank God he's gone. The addition of Bluepoint to PlayStation Studios further demonstrates our continued focus on investing in and fostering creative teams we're confident will deliver world-class gaming experiences for our fans. Bluepoint's roster of critically acclaimed PlayStation remakes and remasters is unmatched, and with each of its projects, the team has surpassed the high-quality standards we look for at PlayStation Studios, said Herman Holtz, head of PlayStation Studios, now part of the big C-suite. They have the expertise in developing our hardware, possesses the technical savvy to create showcases for our platform and understand the artistry of beautiful environments and compelling characters. The creative ambition and skill set within the talented team at Bluepoint will breathe new life into upcoming projects, and I couldn't be happier to officially welcome to the PlayStation Studios. There's a long history of trust between Bluepoint and SIE. Marco Thrush, president of Bluepoint Games. Our first game, Blast Factor, was a PlayStation 3 launch title, and our recent title, Demon Souls, was ready to provide a challenge for the PlayStation 5 crowd. We share the same values, and we equally are committed to creating great new games. Joining PlayStation Studios will empower our team of highly talented and passionate creators to take the quality bar even higher and undertake more ambitious projects while retaining our company culture and identity. Man, that sounds so much different than what you just read, Derek.
I know. Oh my God. You want to talk and that just felt like, again, and it felt like genuine in the moment, but now thinking about it, I almost interjected when it's like, and we look forward to seeing what games they come to the fore. It's like, until I change my mind, you know what I mean? Like, as Jim Ryan, you know what I mean? Until I change my mind and hold everyone hostage for my live service initiative that no one's going to want.
Yeah. Juxtapose that with, we thank them for their passion, creativity, and craftsmanship.
Exactly. But yet we're going to force them to do something they are not accustomed to doing. But anyway, I digress. Dude, it's just so weird how 4 years have changed. You know what I mean? 5 years at this point has changed. And again, he's long since, proverbially dead, not actually dead. But how much he's ruined, like what PlayStation, like the goodwill and all that. I know sometimes companies have to pivot and make changes, to fit the environment going on. I get that. But again, let people be organic and create, let creatives be creatives. Greg Miller has said that time and time again, just let people do what they're best at. Don't force feed them a cookie when they want cake. You know what I mean? And just, I don't know. It's just so sad because there were creative people. I mean, those remakes look like, if you hadn't have said remake, I would have thought these were brand new games that just crushed and killed. Because if you had told me, oh, Shadow of the Colossus was a PlayStation 2 game, I would have looked like, you're crazy. It's a PlayStation 4 title, and it fits the bill.
Well, they also did the Uncharted remake.
Yeah.
The collection. The collection and everything. But okay, here are my thoughts, because I just read that and everything. I want to put my thoughts on this. When we heard, this was back 2022, something like that 60% of development was going to be live service games, and that Sony wanted to have 12, Derek, live service games by 2025, I knew we were going to have some issues, because I kind of already hit some of this, but when you try to put out that many games that are live services, you are literally cutting your throat over and over again, because you only have so many people that play video games. Yes, it is the largest entertainment industry there is, but it also costs a ton of money to make these games. It costs as much or more than movies at this point, and it's way longer of a development cycle than doing a movie. Movies take 2 to 3 years. Games take, at minimum, 3.
Minimum at 3.
At minimum, and that's
stretching it.
That's unheard of at this point. Minimum now is usually about 5. So when you look at that, and you've got this team, and I know Bluepoint wanted to work on some original stuff, that's fine. But you got to do what you got hired to do. When you get hired to do something, Derek, and I know the thing is like, it may include other responsibilities or whatever. Yeah, that's totally fine. But when you've been hired, like if my boss came in tomorrow and said, all right, Zach, I'm going to need you to start coding our websites. I'm going to look at him and I'm going to be like, I don't code, right? And it was like, use AI.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? I'd be like, are you sure about this? Because Like, this is your company and you're expecting this kind of return, and you're giving me this. But you look at Last of Us multiplayer. No one was jonesing for factions.
No.
Dude, and you think, okay, we had Last of Us factions. It was okay. All right. It was kind of fun, but it wasn't something you went back and played. We got a Uncharted 4 multiplayer. Nobody really cared. I played it a little bit, and it was not that great. All right. Sony has never been known for multiplayer games.
Killzone. Let's the prime example.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you've had one big shooter, which was Killzone, and it wasn't that big. Multiplayer is not your bag. The people that are PlayStation fans are people that love story games, love beautiful environments that really garner the attention and help with the storytelling, and that's it. It's not live service. If I wanted live service, Derek, you know where I'd go? You know what I'd play? I'd play freaking Fortnite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I could play with Goku, Darth Vader, All Might. I could play with whoever I wanted. John Wick.
Yeah.
I didn't even mean to do that, but there you go. Good night, everybody. But you know what I mean? Like, this is just so sad. And like we said, God of War remake is happening right now. And the remake studio, the ones that are known for it, are dead.
Correct.
It's dead. And this is what I'm...
And I'm not saying Santa Monica would do a bad job on it.
No.
Think about what Bluepoint could have gotten out of it. You know what I'm just saying?
Yeah. So there's an article over on Game Informer that I think everybody should go read. Not Game Informer, GameSpot. Every game studio Sony has bought since 2019 and what happened next is by Blair Marnell. Go check it out. Read it. It's everybody on there, like what happened and all of that. But this just makes me so sad to see. And I hope, Derek, this is what I'm hoping for. I hope we get a Tango Gameworks like resolve on this, that somebody comes in, offers Sony the money to say, hey, we'll take Bluepoint from you. Or, you know, they buy themselves back or something, kind of like Toys for Bob did. Something. Right. Let's keep Bluepoint. Like, I want Bluepoint to stay around, y'all. Like, seriously, this would be a crime against video games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. And let me just end on, because I always think, I always tend to think bigger picture too. And it's like, and I know, again, I just said making video games are hard. We're going to say that till the cows come home. And I get, Sony is not just the first. It's the first in a long line of other big studios doing this to studios, like not layoffs, closures have been more of a bigger thing since last year. Like, it went from just mass layoffs here and there to now, like, hey, we're going to close it. And it's like, hey, you're not successful, we're going to close you. Hey, you are successful, we're going to do layoffs. Like, it's a no-win situation. And then they wonder why talented people who have been with companies for years leave, go to other companies, or do indie games, or start their own studios that do smaller stuff and go that route. And it's almost kind of slap in the face to up and coming game developers who are fresh out of college looking for jobs. And again, I get, you get whatever puts bread on the table. You get whatever job offers are there. But I wonder if over the next decade, because I feel like this is going to be a slow burn, it's going to be until somebody really screws the pooch and it sets the whole industry on, ablaze, and like everyone unionizes, all that kind of stuff. Maybe not to that extreme, but you get my points. And game devs are just game developers, like up and coming game devs are just done with AAA, and they either go indie, because indie games are getting more serious. We just had an indie game won Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
There was 3 indie games that were nominated for Game of the Year.
Exactly. So it's almost like indies are the way to go to an extent. But again, if you keep building up the small thing, it eventually becomes a big thing to an extent. I get that, but it's almost going to deter. I wonder if a lot of up and coming potential talent will be deterred from going to big AAA studios that have huge budgets and you create these awe-inspiring, graphically, technically sound games, and in favor of these indie projects. So I wonder how much of an effect this will have on the industry going forward. Again, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the ship writes itself out over the next couple of years. Who knows? I'm not a psychic. Don't claim to be. But I wonder if this will have an eventual impact on the games industry as a whole.
Well, I know Circana put out that study that like 63% of all gamers only buy 2 games a year.
Right.
So it's like the people that buy multiple games a year and everything like that, those are the people that you should be listening to. The people that constantly buy new stuff and all of that. But Derek, I do have a magic ball. Okay. Ooh. And I'm going to predict some things. Okay. For some odd reason, Media Molecule will somehow stay around, even though that they don't deserve it. Okay. I'm not wishing anyone to lose their job, but Bluepoint should be there and not Media Molecule. And Haven will never put out a game.
That one you can almost take to the bank. That, man, I'm telling you. Sidebar here. You bring it up. What is Media Molecule doing? Because we have not heard from them since Dreams, and that was 2019 when it came out. It's been 7 years. And usually by this time, you've gotten a tease of their next project.
Something.
Like, how are they still a studio? Like, again, like you said, if I had to sacrifice one to save the other, I would sacrifice Media Molecule to save Bluepoint in a heartbeat. Yeah. Again, the easy layups are Haven and, whatever. Some of these other smaller studios. Bend. I get that. But Media Molecule is like one of the legacy studios, I guess you can say, or have been around PlayStation for a long time. What are they doing?
Dude, so Brett Favre was a legacy, and he got worse and worse as it went. Okay, and I was a Brett Favre fanatic.
Yeah,
I literally hated Green Bay because of what they did to Brett Favre.
Oh, trust me, we had those conversations.
Yeah, but. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're sitting on your 5-gallon bucket, you're not doing your job. Now, if Media Molecule is a support studio right now, dope. That's awesome. Whatever.
Cool.
But my God. Okay. Now, Derek, let me this is going to be a new bit, y'all, when I'm making predictions. My next prediction is that everybody should go over to patreon.com and subscribe to the NerdCave. Okay, y'all should go do that right now, but we're not going to go to the Patreon quick hits yet because we're going to read some comments. But I had to do that.
Yeah,
Derek.
I feel that.
That's my new thing, y'all. I hope y'all love that. Bo says they just keep gambling on live service and losing to the house, which is us. There may never be another Fortnite ever. Stop letting greed waste your time and resources. That's 1,000%. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Like, there's not going to be another Fortnite. There's just not. Like, Fortnite is it, and they've got the connections. They know how to monetize, and that's just it. Like, keep doing what you're good at. You know what? Look at this, Derek, before you go.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. What was he good at, Derek?
Basketball.
What was he not good at and tried to do?
Baseball.
Exactly. What is he known for? Being the best? Basketball. What do people make fun of him for? Baseball. Bang. Stop screwing around, Sony.
Exactly. And there's only one king. There can only ever be one king. Like, have you ever heard of multiple kings in the same, like, hierarchies? I mean, like, yeah, there could be multiple kings across different countries, but have you heard of multiple kings in the same country? You haven't. You know why? Because then it's too many cooks in the kitchen, and there can only be one. Stop trying to chase the king and just do what you need to do. Be the peasant that you are.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, you can't, like, not everyone can be good at everything. We get it, but play to your freaking strengths, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad Magic Ball should be show segment every week.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Now it's time for the Patreon quick hits, everybody. Patreon quick hits are brought to you by our wonderful patrons. Go support the Nerd Cave by getting your very own Nerd Cave membership to help us continue to make awesome shows just like this one and to bring like the power of the magic ball. Okay. The prediction ball. Like, guys, this isn't cheap. Okay. Like to be able to harness the energy that it takes to be able to predict the gaming future. And Derek can attest, I am really good at predicting the gaming future.
Brett Zambino over here. It looks like you're holding a Dragon Ball right now.
All right. It takes a lot, y'all. It really does. It takes a lot for this 1.5 person business, and any support means the world to us. Pick the tier that fits best for your budget. It doesn't matter if it's $1, $5, make Derek holler, all that good stuff. If you don't have any bucks to toss, that's totally fine too. You can get a free sub over there and see all the cool stuff that we've got going on. But thank you so much to our wonderful patrons. Go to patreon.com/nerdcave. Now it's time for the Patreon quick hits.
So starting off, Jurassic Park Classic Games Collection will be delisted by the end of March, digitally on digital storefronts. It took 7 hours, but a streamer grape pressed almost every single NPC in Hitman's winery level at once. Cool, I guess. Go off. Arc Raiders has sold 14 million copies and has significantly exceeded expectations, but that'll still result in layoffs and whatnot because, corporate, greed gonna greed. After years of wait, Mewtwo is finally returning to Pokemon Go. Union says 1,200 Ubisoft staff went on strike last week, protesting closures and cost-cutting and return to office mandate. Sega looking to launch 4 major new games from mainstay IPs by the end of March of 2027. Rumor Resident Evil 10 aiming for a 2029 release window, and it's crazy because we're just now, Resident Evil 9's not even out yet, and we're already talking about 10. Anyway, Konami promises numerous new Castlevania products for 40th anniversary. Bloober Team announces Layers of Fear 3. Konami confirms Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 won't have Metal Gear Solid 4's Metal Gear Online, but Peace Walker multiplayer will return. Metal Gear Solid 4 and Peace Walker HD have been delisted from digital storefronts. You can use the Virtual Boy accessory to play Smash Bros., Mario Odyssey, and Breath of the Wild in VR. Dead by Daylight movie to be penned by David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick and Alexandre Aja. Crimson Desert won't have microtransactions, Zach. That's another reason that people should definitely get this game because we don't talk about it anymore, but it's still great to hear. Crimson Desert is not a Souls-like game, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Following that, people are arguing over whether Crimson Desert is an RPG, and the game's not even out yet. Rumor, the PlayStation 6 won't utilize full RDNA 5 GPU architecture. Ember Labs says teaming with PlayStation Studios has empowered us to craft an even larger world. February's State of Play is the most watched in Sony history with over 3.2 million views. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 quality won't be compromised despite it being designed as a multi-platform title. Star Wars Galactic Racer Dev says there will be a good mix of familiar faces and new characters. Hideki Sato, the father of Sega hardware, has passed away at 75 years of age. Mugenics has hit 1 million copies sold. WoW, or World of Warcraft, now has a Zillow for player housing. Call of Duty Warzone mobile servers will be turned off on April 17th, it confirms Activision. Valve admits Steam Deck is experiencing delays and stock issues due to AI-driven memory shortages. God of War Norse Duology has pulled in a combined $1.4 billion with a B in revenue. Official website confirms Silent Hill Townfall will launch as a PlayStation 5 console exclusive. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 movie casts Kristen Bell as Amy Rose. And lastly, The Elder Scrolls 6 will return to Bethesda's classic style after detours with Starfield. Fallout 76, says Todd Howard.
Todd Howard comes out on stage and opens his big mouth. Guys, thank y'all so much. Derek, anything you want to hit from our Patreon quick hits?
Kudos to, I feel good about, because we were 2 of that 3.2 million views for the PlayStation State of Play. And you got to wonder, and I get, in this day and age with influencers and social media, you get copies out early to get people talking about it, getting people hyped about the game launch to increase sales. But you got to wonder sometimes if, like 3.2 million, it's like, now maybe they've had similar numbers and they just didn't report it, or they've had lower numbers, whatever. But hearing this reporting the streaming views sometimes makes me wonder. It's like, do they do the same thing with like review copies? Do they, or just like pre-release copies? Do they like send emails and be like, hey, we can't tell you what's in it, but this State of Play is going to be hyped. Start getting your followers like to watch it or whatever. It's like, do they do that same kind of like media hype train like behind closed doors that we don't know about? I can't confirm nor deny it, but it's just a thought I had. You know what I mean? It kind of would play out the same way and it would make sense, but I digress. And I feel good. I also feel good about that 1.4 billion revenue that God of War has pulled in. It's like, again, when you make good games, people will buy them. Just saying.
You build it, they will come. Now, Derek, I'm excited because Peace Walker Online.
Yeah.
Oh boy, baby. Oh boy. Good? Oh yeah, dude. It was so fun.
Okay.
So fun. Not that I really like Konami, because
right.
I really love Kojima. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be honest. Like Death Stranding 2. I'm
about to say the Death Stranding duology is any indication. Just saying.
Oh gosh. If y'all haven't played it, y'all need to go eat. All right. Y'all need to go get it's so cheap right now. And if you're a PC person, you're about to get Death Stranding 2 on PC next month. Trust me, you're not going to regret it. You're going to love it. You're going to love every freaking second of it. Well, that has us at the end of our show. Thank y'all so much for being here. We'll be back on Tuesday playing more of Expedition 33. It's going to be a fantastic time. We're taking on everybody. We got SKA, we got Verso, we got LeBron James. All right. Y'all didn't know that, but we've got LeBron on our team. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. This has been Zach
and Derek.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye-bye.